Well, happy weekend, friends. Thank you for hanging out with me for just a couple of minutes as we stay tuned in to what God is doing in and through the church that calls itself St. Paul's United Methodist here in Ocala. My name is Jeremy Knight, and if we have not had the honor of meeting yet, I pray that we do so soon. I am so grateful to be found among you all and honored with the opportunity to help lead us in these days and months and years ahead. So, real quick, just to remind you that it is a incredibly wonderful and busy season. It seems as though when October gets here, everything hits fast forward, and we kind of find ourselves caught up in just the pace of life. And as much as that is just a part of our culture and a part of perhaps our own rhythms of life, just as a reminder that to hurry, the hurried pace of life, is not how the soul is intended to operate. And so I would invite you to try to find some time to create some space in the busyness of this season and the seasons that are coming in the next couple of weeks and months ahead, to breathe deeply, to slow down, to be intentional, so that the gifts that you have to offer to the world and the gift that you are to the world doesn't get too panicked. It doesn't get lost in this beautiful opportunity of life that we've been given. So just hear that. Hopefully you'll take that to heart. I know that for myself, it is a discipline that I am not very good at, but I am trying to get better at, of finding and creating time and space to just simply be, to breathe deeply, and to rest in who God has created me to be, and that to be okay with the fact that I do not have to keep up with the pace that even I expect out of myself or that others do as well, because that's not good for anybody, especially in these busy seasons. So with that being said, we hope that you are staying plugged in and informed with the opportunities that God has given us here at St. Paul's. Don't let those overburden you. Please don't let those add to any frantic pace. We have lots of things on the agenda over the next several weeks and months. And so we wanted to get those to you early so you can start to pray about how you want to plug in and be a part of those, specifically around the holiday season, because we have lots of opportunities to give of ourselves and serve. And it is the season for that for sure, but not at a pace that isn't sustainable for us all. So take a look at those things. We've been emailing those out. I pray that you are continuing in diligence about how you would like to serve and give here in our community over the next several weeks and months. A little bit about worship this Sunday. Well, first, let me just say this. Thank you for being here this past Sunday. We had a wonderful observance of All Saints, as well as the Holy Sacrament of Communion, or Sacrament of Holy Communion, excuse me. And so that was a very busy day. For many of us, it was a heavy day because we remember the saints that have gone before us, and some of those that have just departed here in the last year. And so thank you for making space and holding space with one another for that. That's an incredibly important part of what the faith journey looks like, is to create and hold space with one another so that we may connect with God and that God may reveal God's self more deeply to us all. So thank you, those that were here. Thank you for your patience, because it was Communion Sunday, it was All Saints, and we had to take the time to do that right. So we were a little bit longer, and so I appreciate you guys holding fast with us. We get back to a more normal schedule this week, and so our children will not be in family worship, but will enjoy a return to their children's church program there in the middle of the service. So we look forward to seeing our families and to seeing us all in worship this Sunday as we continue to talk about stewardship. And all too often for church folks, hear this, hang out with me for just a little bit longer. All too often for churched folks, for folks that have been connected to the church for a number of years, we can get in the habit of making stewardship just about money. Stewardship is about money, but it's about everything. I am learning each and every season that I lead churches through these conversations and through this real intentional time. It is not lost on me that each and every time I do that, I understand more deeply that stewardship is bigger than money. It's about all of life. It's about all that God gives us. It's about stewarding that. The very breath in our lungs is a gift. The light that we see, the health that we experience, all of the things that are available to us are gifts. And so many of them are given so freely and so generously. And so stewardship really is that question. And we're going to ask that question this week. That's why I bring it up, because I want you to think about it before you get to worship on Sunday morning. And here's the gist of where we're headed Sunday. Are you and I actively, not passively, are we actively doing the things that help us steward or help us be responsible to all that God has gifted us? Are we actively doing things that help us in our own stewardship? Are we actively doing things that help us be responsible to the gifts that God has given us? Because stewardship is not a passive reality. Being responsible to the gifts God has given us is not a passive thing. We have to be actively engaged in it. And if we're honest, because so many of the things that are gifts to us, we've known our entire lives, we can fall asleep to those gifts. We can forget what a beautiful gift that they are. And so we're going to kind of explore that a little bit deeper in worship. I pray that you will come. I pray that you will allow God's Spirit to dwell within you and dwell within the community here as we further understand this beauty and this potential and the opportunity that we have to be not only the beloved, to not only be the ones loved and called and led by God, but what does it mean for us to love and lead and help call others? What does it mean for us to better steward what God's given us so that we can bless other people, so that we can be engaged in discipleship? Not just a belief system, not just a church structure, not just an institution, but how can we be about following in the way of Jesus? That's the ultimate stewardship question. Are we doing the things? Are we actively engaged in stewarding what God has for us so that we find and seek and experience the potential of life, this abundant life that Christ came to announce and continually invites us into? All right. Grace and peace to you all. Can't wait to be with you this Sunday, 10:30 a.m. here at St. Paul's, and we'll be online as well if you can't make it in person. All right. Grace and peace to you all.